Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and I have a yoga practice for you today. As always, all you'll need is a yoga mat or a towel and a little bit of space. If you have blocks or other props that you prefer to use with your practice, feel free to grab them as well and have them handy. If you are new to exercise or it's been a while since you exercised, the great thing about this is that you can always take a break, maybe pause the video, relax back into a child's pose, give yourself an extra moment. Same thing with any stretches that feel particularly good. If you need to pause the video and take an extra couple of moments in any given stretch, I invite you to do that at any point today. So go ahead and grab your mat or your towel, lay it out, and let's get started. Today we are going to start in a mountain pose. So we will start standing here. We're going to start with those feet right under those hips, so a little bit narrower than shoulder width apart, but they aren't quite touching each other. From there, I want you to begin by thinking about the bottoms of those feet. You want to become super grounded into the floor, so making sure that all 10 of your toes, the 3 corners of your feet, are all in contact with that mat, nice and stable and sturdy. So now for those knees, maybe there's a slight bend in those knees. We're just not quite locking them out, so we don't necessarily need a lot of tension through those legs as we get started here. That pelvis nice and neutral, so trying not to round out through that spine, but also thinking about that posture and opening up through those collarbones. Nice long line from the top of the head down to that tailbone here. Same thing, like I said, with those shoulders, making sure that we're not rounding out but broadening through those collarbones. The shoulders are relaxed away from the ears, and that neck is nice and long out all the way through the top of the head, nice length there. Now with the hands, you have a couple of options. As the shoulders are relaxed, those arms are going to come down by your side. Sometimes in mountain pose, I like to face those palms forward. It helps me feel a little bit more grounded as I spread my fingers nice and wide. Or maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable with the palms facing in towards the body and allowing those shoulders to relax in that way as well. We're going to take a couple of moments here to just center, find your breath, find your mountain pose, and then we'll start out our practice today with a little bit of guided breathing. So like I said, taking a moment in this mountain pose, just starting by evaluating your body, noticing all of those things I just pointed out, but also noticing any tension as you start to evaluate, moving up from those feet all the way to the top of the head. Maybe you've got tension in the lower back or in the hips. Maybe it travels up to the shoulders, the muscles in the face or the jaw. Just allowing yourself to notice that tension. And without any judgment, just try and send that next exhale there for a little bit of a release. From there, just noticing your breathing, noticing if it's a little bit shallow, noticing if you can deepen it just a little bit. And now we're just going to focus on that inhale specifically, on that expansion through the chest and the rib cage and the belly. So I want you to take one hand and I want you to place it on that chest, and the other I want you to place right on those ribs and right on that belly. So from here, I want you to allow your breath to travel down the body as it travels in, and those hands are just kind of going to assist us to notice where the breath is and where that expansion is as we inhale. With your exhale, just letting all of that breath flow out, letting the shoulders relax. So with this first inhale, as the breath travels in, I want you to first think about expanding through the chest. So that top hand starts to open up a little bit. We broaden a little bit more through those collarbones. As that inhale continues to travel down through the body, we notice it down on this lower hand as the ribs expand to make space for those lungs to expand, and maybe you just let that belly expand as well while we're down there. When you exhale, letting it travel back up, so the belly and the ribs compress first, and then the chest compresses second, finding that relaxation. So a couple of nice deep breaths just like that, finding that expansion through the chest and the belly, and then finding that compression through the belly, the ribs, and the chest. Three more nice deep breaths for me here. Awesome. And when you finish that third nice deep breath, bringing it back to mountain pose, recentering, refocusing it on the body. Find if any tension kind of came back in, crept back in as you were finding that breath, and allowing it to release one more time before we get moving a little bit today. All right, awesome. So we're gonna move to the back of that mat. I'm gonna face towards that long mat in front of me here. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start by finding our arm movement with our inhales and exhales. So with each inhale, we're gonna circle those arms out and up towards the ceiling. And then with each exhale, keeping our body up nice and long, we're just gonna circle those arms back down and around. So a couple of times there, big inhale to circle out and up. Big exhale to circle down and around. Two more here. Last one. Awesome. Up next, we're going to find a lateral stretch. Next, big inhale. Circle those arms out and up. I want you to find that left wrist with that right hand. We're going to bring it just slightly up over top. Nice big stretch on that side. Big inhale through center. Same thing other direction. So just moving a couple of times side to side here. With each inhale, switching those hands, switching that direction, and then inhaling for that length through center to switch over to that other side. Nice work. Just getting that upper body and those shoulders moving here. Maybe you find a little bend in those knees as you move side to side. Once more in each direction. Awesome. Big inhale back to center, and then big exhale, circle those arms down and around. Now for this next one, we're going to open up through the chest, so you can either face those palms towards each other, or you can interlace those hands behind the back. Either of those options will be great. With your next big inhale, all we're going to do is pull the shoulder blades together and open up through the chest. And then with that exhale, just allowing them to come back to center. Maybe you release those hands, circle them around, and then same thing a couple of times. So if you're pressing, all we're doing here is inhaling to open up and exhaling to release. If you're finding that interlace, maybe you inhale to open up and then exhale, circle around, and re-find it with every inhale. Couple of times here, finding that length, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Two more. All right, awesome. Next big inhale, circle those arms out and up. Exhale, we're gonna fold forward. So hinging at the hips, bringing that upper body down. So starting out, this is our first big leg stretch. So maybe you have a nice, generous bend in those knees. Maybe you're feeling a little bit better today and you can lengthen through those legs as that flexibility increases, starting to lengthen those legs here. Finding just a moment in this forward fold. And we're going to find this similar range of motion 3 more times. With your next inhale, trail those arms up the body all the way, and then extend up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Circling those arms down and around, finding that stretch. Next big inhale, bring it up, same thing. Exhale, forward fold. 2 more. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, forward fold. Last one here. Big inhale, bring it up. Exhale, forward fold. Okay, awesome. Now from here, we're going to start to move towards our down dog, but we're not going to quite get there yet. So first thing that I want you to do is bend those knees just so that those fingertips reach the ground. So if those legs can be long and the fingertips reach the ground, that's fine where that is. If you need a little bit more of a bend, take that bend in those legs. We're going to walk halfway out and then back in a couple of times here to get those arms ready. So I'm going to walk it out, place my palms down to about halfway to my downward dog. So I'm about 3/4 the way out of my mat. I'm gonna lift those heels, and then I'm just gonna shift backwards, same thing, until all I can do is reach with my fingertips and my heels are planted. So just doing that a couple of times here. Walking out to halfway, those heels come up, and then back in to those flat feet. As you walk out, I want you to think about all 10 fingers making contact with the mat, pressing evenly through those palms, so not too much pressure through those wrists directly on the heel of the hand, kind of equally distributing it all the way out through the hand. 2 more just like this. Last one, we're going to meet out here. So walking out to that 3/4 of the way out. And then we're going to start to get those legs warmed up. So all I want you to do is just alternate here between pressing those heels down a little bit more and then bringing it up on those toes. So if you still have bend in those knees, that's fine. Or if you're ready to lengthen those legs out a little bit, also fine. And we're just going to bring it up to the toes and then back down, pressing through those heels. We're not quite in our full downward dog yet, so this should feel a little bit shorter of a stance between the hands and the toes than your regular down dog. Awesome. And then we're just going to change up this range of motion. So rather than just pressing our heels down, we're still going to take it up to those toes, but this time when we press back, we're going to bend through those knees. So pressing back, pressing those hips back, bending those knees, and then coming all the way back up to those tip toes. So a couple of times like that. If you got a little bit uncentered and came away from your breath, this is a good time to refocus on your breathing. Two more. When you finish that last one, I want you to just press those hips up and then walk those hands back into those feet. Taking a second off of those wrists, we're going to move into an inchworm up next. So if you need a moment upright, feel free to take that. If you're still in that forward fold and you want to find that for a moment, totally fine. Now we're going to inchworm forward and backward across our mat up next. So, big inhale. If you were in your forward fold, go ahead and roll it up. With your big inhale, arms come out and up. Exhale back down into that forward fold. Okay, awesome. So here's where our inchworm comes in. We're going to walk those hands all the way out into that plank position. So all the way out to our nice long body, hips come down, and then we're going to walk our feet in to meet our hands. So keeping it nice little steps, I want you to just nice and easy walk those feet in, find that forward fold at the top of your mat. Now from here, we're just going to take it right back without standing up. So bending through those knees, walking those feet back into our plank, and then walking those hands back in, and then rolling it up. Same thing, we're just going to keep going with that big inhale out and up. Exhale, forward fold. Hands walk out. Feet walk in. Feet walk out. Hands walk in. Nice. So keeping on going with that, we're going to do 3 more here. All right, nice. That was our first of our last 3. Keeping going with this, 2 more. Now maybe for this last one, you take those steps up just a little bit in distance. Walking those hands out. Now I'm taking a little bit bigger of steps. Still back out. Walk those hands in. All right. Last time we're going to do that, we're just going to walk out, and then we're going to find our down dog. Big inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, forward fold. Walk those hands out. First true down dog of the day. Hips come up and back. Adjust those hands or feet if you need to. And we're going to take a few moments in this pose to just pedal out those heels a couple extra times. Find that nice stretch. All right, from here we're going to warm those shoulders up a little bit. So we're going to find a range of motion. I'm going to take my feet out just a little bit wider just to find a little bit more stable of a base. And then I'm going to bring my left hand and my right hand both in a little bit towards the center of the mat. Now from this one, whatever your range of motion is today is going to be fine. So if you've got a little bit less than a full circle, that totally works. I'm going to start with my right hand and we're just going to alternate sides. So that right hand is going to come up off the mat. All my weight goes into my left hand. I'm circling around to face that up, like up the same direction as my hips, and then back down and around. So same thing on the other side. Circle around, up towards the hips, back down. Alternating here a couple of times, getting those shoulders going. That standing arm is doing a whole ton of work too. Awesome work. Give me one more on each side here. And then we're going to find our child's pose for a moment to give those hands and those wrists a break. If you prefer to stay in this down dog as your recovery, you're welcome to. For child's pose, we're taking those knees down wide to the mat. Those feet come close together. The hips sit back towards the heels. Now if you need a roll or two of the wrists to give them a second, take that here. And then we're going to bring it right back into our downward dog. Curl those toes under. Hips come up and back. Now we're going to do a similar thing, but we're going to work through the legs up next. So those ears stay between the biceps. And then we're just going to alternate our three-legged dog. So that right foot comes up and back, finding that nice stretch through that hip, and then we're just going to place it down and switch sides. So same thing here, left foot up and back, bringing it down. Same thing as before, making sure that you have equal tension throughout those hands, so we're not just pressing on the heel of the hand where it connects to the wrist. Awesome. Give me one more on each side. All right, great. So we're just going to change up that range of motion a little bit next. So if you need a little break for those wrists, go ahead and take it, drop those knees, sit it back into child's pose. I'll show you what we're going to do next. We're going to work through those shoulders, but we're going to use our three-legged dog. So from our downward dog, we're going to take that right foot up and back into our three-legged dog. And then as we shift our hips down and our shoulders out over our wrists, our right knee is going to come towards our left elbow. So we're bringing it in and across and then up and back. We're going to do 3 of those on each side before we switch each time. So joining me here, taking that right foot up and back, we've got 3 on this first side. Exhaling to shift the shoulders out over the wrists and bring that knee towards that opposite elbow. Inhale to lengthen, 2 more just like that on this side. 1 more. And then place that foot down, we're switching sides. Left foot comes up and back. Same thing, 3 here. Exhale, shift over. Inhale, shift up. 2 more. Last one. Bring it up and then set that foot down. Same thing other side. We're gonna do twice more on each side here. Inhale up and back, 3 here. When you finish that third on the right, switch it over to the left, same thing. Awesome, we've got one more time on each side here. Last time, left leg for me. Awesome job bringing it back into that down dog when you finish. Now here's a good time if you need to pause and take a break. Feel free to pause the video and shift into child's pose. I'm going to keep it moving here. We've got our low lunge up next. So starting with our 3-legged dog, right foot comes, left foot comes up and back. From here, slight bend through that right knee, spring that left foot forward. Same way that we did here, bringing the knee up and then springing it under. First thing I want you to look at is making sure that the ankle is under the knee. So if you're shifted so that your heel is up and your knee is way out over, just take a second, readjust yourself, make sure that knee is right in line. Like I said, low lunge, so drop that back knee, bring the top of that foot down to meet the mat. When you get there and you get balanced with your next inhale, sweep those arms up. So finding a little length, finding a little stretch through that right hip here. We're going to find a spinal twist, so pulling those palms together right overhead. Exhale to pull them down to heart center. Now my right elbow is going to take it over to my left knee. I'm going to stack my palms on top of each other and open up. So right elbow to left knee, palms get stacked right here. Now you can stay here, or you can take that top hand up and open up towards that ceiling, opening up through the shoulder. From here, we're going to engage our core. So using your core to stand yourself up, we're bringing it back up to center. Big inhale to bring those arms back up towards that ceiling. Open up through the chest. One more time, we're going to find that spinal twist. Palms come together, hands down to heart center. Right elbow comes to that left knee. Same 2 options. Palms can stack, or you can open up through that top arm. Using your core strength, bringing it back to center. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, they come down to meet the mat. We're going to find our wide leg forward fold next. So curl that back toe under, lift that knee. Both sets of toes come to face the front or the side of the mat. We're in our wide leg forward fold right from there. So fingertips come down towards the mat. Maybe if you've got a lot of flexibility today, you bring those fingertips to face that opposite wall. Maybe you bring those hands out to each of those ankles, whatever feels good for you today. Just letting that head and neck relax, letting the shoulders relax wherever you're at. Awesome. Okay, so up next we're going to roll it up with your next inhale, nice and controlled, bringing it up. I'm going to go into our deep squat next, so I'm going to turn my heels in, and then I'm just going to walk my feet into a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Now, wherever your range of motion is for this is totally fine, so maybe you make it halfway down, maybe those hips come down almost between those heels, but we're going to bend at those knees, sit those hips back, and bring them down. So again, maybe you're just here and you place those hands on those knees for a little support. Maybe you've brought it all the way down, you need that mat, or you bring those palms to center and place those elbows right inside those knees. Taking a second here to play around with it. Maybe move a little bit side to side. Maybe you let one heel lift and then the other heel lift. Just kind of finding this nice comfortable position or not so comfortable position. And we're going to transition from here to crow. If crow isn't something that you'd like to try today, I welcome you to just stay in this squat, or as always, bring it to child's pose. I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see me. You can face the same direction that you're already facing. So from this position here, I'm just going to plant my hands out a little bit in front of me so that I would have to lean forward to come down and put pressure onto those palms. My knees kind of naturally reach my triceps here, so that's what I'm going to use for support with a bend through my elbows. So if this is the first time you're doing crow, feel free to follow along here. If you've already got crow or headstand in your practice and you'd like to just transition into that, feel free. So I'm going to shift my weight forward then and bring my heels up off of the floor. And like I said, my knees are resting on my triceps with that slight bend in those elbows. My hands are taking all the pressure here, so I'm making sure that I've got pressure through all 10 fingers, and then I'm just shifting my weight forward, keeping my neck neutral. Now, if you're new to this and you want to keep those toes on the ground, that is totally fine. This is a really great strengthening activity here. If you've got your balance here and those knees are on the back of those elbows, you can start to transition to lift those toes up off of the floor and find your balance, but make sure that you keep your head down, so if you fall forward, nice and softly you can land on the top of that head, but try and keep your weight back so that those feet can catch you if you need to. So same thing here, we're just going to try that one more time. Shifting it forward, trying to find your balance. Maybe you lift one foot off and then the other. Maybe you've got both. And then nice and easy shift back and set down. If you were in headstand, please transition back to our squat. All right, awesome. So from here, I'm going to bring those hips up. And then we're going to transition over to, we've got cat and cow next. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to bring my knees down. I'm going to face the side of the mat once again. All right, making sure that those wrists are right into the shoulders. Knees are right into the hips. We've got a nice stable base here. Cat and cow, flowing with the pace of our breath. With your inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the hips, lifting the chin. With your exhale, rounding the spine, tucking the hips, tucking the chin. Flowing with your breath here. Inhaling to come up. Exhaling to adjust. Two more nice deep breaths. It's twice more in each direction. When you finish those last two, just bring it right back to center. We're going to transition to our bird dog. We're going to start on one side. We'll come back to it later and hit that other side. So we're going to start with that right hand and that left leg. Now this is a little bit of a balance exercise, so we're going to use our left hand and our right knee to balance ourselves on the floor as we take our right hand and our left leg to find a little bit of length here. Now from this position, we're going to pull the elbow towards the knee and center and round out that spine just like we did in our cat and cow. Big inhale to extend nice and long. Big exhale to pull it in. Couple of these here. With this one, we're really looking for length over lift. So if you come out and you could lengthen a little bit more, I would rather you take that than try and lift up and extend that, hyperextend that spine. So really looking for a little extra length from fingertips to toes or heels. Let's find 3 more here. When you finish those 3, I want you to just set down. We're not going to switch sides quite yet. We're going to find a modified version of our bow. Now, if the flexibility that you have doesn't quite allow for this, I invite you to just keep it going with that bird dog. But for our modified bow, I'm going to extend my left leg out, and I'm going to bend at that knee, bringing it up towards me. I'm then going to find my balance, extend my right hand out, and then circle it around to catch that left foot. So then from there, I just like to turn my hand over and bring it to that opposite side. If out here is what feels good on your shoulder, totally fine. From this position, we've got our balance, and then I just want you to press the hand and the foot together. That's going to allow for a little bit more of that bow extension kind of range of motion for the spine. We're going to stay in this balanced position for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently extend back out with both, and then set down here. Okay, awesome. We're going to move to our modified side angle. Taking your left leg, we're going to turn that foot so that it's closer to that long edge of the mat. And then I'm going to take my right foot out long here. Adjusting my left hand so it's under this shoulder. And then I'm going to open up my right arm towards the ceiling and then up overhead for a little bit of length here. So I've got a whole ton of length between my right fingertips and my right foot. So if you want to stay right here, you're welcome to stay here. Or we've got a little bit of a hip exercise. So making sure you've got nice even pressure through that hand. We're going to lift up that leg. And then we've just got a couple of pulses here. So bringing that foot up and back down through its range of motion, pulsing and balancing, using the top of that left leg to keep us nice and balanced. We're going to stay here for 10 more seconds. For another 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, place that foot down. We're going to turn those toes to face the edge of that mat. We're going to come over to our gate pose. So with your next big inhale, using your core to press up through center. And then we're coming over here, so like I said, those toes point that way. And then we're just going to put a tiny little bit of pressure down onto that leg. We're going to bring this left arm up over top, but trying not to put too much pressure on this knee so that we're not hyperextending it. So we're just using our core to keep us long, but using this for support. Over into our gate pose here. Nice stretch from those left fingertips down to that left knee. Big inhale, bringing us back up to center. Exhale, circle those arms down. From here, we're just going to switch legs. So if you need to bring those hands down, bringing that right leg in, that left leg is going to come out. First, we're going to start with our modified side angle to our leg lift. So those toes point forward. We're bringing that right hand down, and then we're bringing that left hand up over top. Finding this nice big stretch, same as before. And then we've got our leg lifts here, getting through that hip exercise. Finding that nice pulse. Another 10 seconds in this. We've got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set that down. Point those toes forward. Using your core, nice big inhale. Presses us up through center. Over here, we've got our half gate. So again, not too much pressure through that knee, using our core to keep us up nice and tall. You shouldn't need that knee except for maybe a little bit of, or that leg, except for a little bit of balance. But trying not to place your hand right on your knee. It should be a little bit above or below. Nice big inhale back to center. And then we're going to come down to our hands and knees on this side. So bringing those hands down over here, opposite direction that we were facing before. Bring that left knee in, turn that right leg around. We're going to go into our cat and cow first here. So big inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin. Exhale, round out the spine, tucking the chin. Three more nice deep breaths. When you finish that third, bringing it back to that neutral spine, and we've got our bird dog on that opposite side. So I've got my left hand and my right leg coming up off of the floor this time. We're looking for that extension and that balance, and then pulling the elbow towards the knee. Finding that flow with your breath, same as our cat and cow. Three more of these. Awesome. Setting that hand and that knee down. And then we're going to prepare for that half bow. So same thing on this side. If you need just a child's pose, or if you want to keep going on that bird dog, you're welcome to. Getting prepared here, we're extending that right leg out and then bending at that knee to bring the foot in. Then finding our balance, extending that left arm out, circling it around to catch. Same thing, you can keep it there, or you can circle around to that opposite side. When you get your balance there, pressing those Hands and feet together. Finding that little bit of extra lift. Using your core to stay centered here. This is tough for me. For another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Find that extension. And then bring it back in. Okay, awesome. We're going to transition back up to our wide leg forward fold. So go ahead and curl those toes under. Press those hips up and back. And then we're going to step that right foot towards those left hands and then circle around here, wide leg forward fold. Awesome. Taking a second here, same way that you did before. Okay, we're going to transition to that squat once again. So rolling it up nice and slow. Bringing those feet a little closer, pointing those heels in and those toes out. Same thing here. We're just going to sit those hips down right in between, finding that nice little bit of a stretch. So again, maybe you're just here. Maybe this is good for you today. Maybe you bring it all the way down. Maybe this isn't quite right, so you find a child's pose. Again, taking a moment here, maybe you bring it over a little bit in this direction, lift one heel and then the other. Okay, and then we've got our same 2 options. You've got your headstand or your crow. So again, I'm just going to turn sideways. If you're transitioning to that crow, placing those hands down, giving this a nice practice around here. If you wanted to try that tripod headstand, all I'm going to do is bring my knees down, drop my head. Those hands become my nice stable base. First thing you want to do is lift those knees and place them on the back of those elbows. So same concept as that crow. And then nice and slow, you're going to extend up towards that ceiling into that headstand. Those hands are your nice support. When you're done with this, nice and slow, trying to bring it down and then dropping those knees again. Awesome. If you found your headstand and you didn't come down, go ahead and bring it on down. If you're in that curl, go ahead and bring it back down and then bring it over to hands and knees. Okay, great. So now we've got our lunge here. So curl those toes under, press those hips up and back. Our right side lunge is up next. So right foot comes up and back, 3-legged dog. We're shifting our shoulders over our wrists and stepping that foot forward. Right foot comes forward, like I said, making sure once again that the ankle is right underneath that knee. Set that back knee down. Top of that back foot meets the mat. When you find your balance, inhale to sweep up. Palms come together overhead. Exhale, down to heart center. Spinal twist. This time the left elbow meets the right knee. Same 2 options you've got right here, palms stacked, or you can open up. Using your core, coming back to center. Big inhale, lift those arms up. One more time on that spinal twist. Palms come together, down to heart center. Spinal twist, left elbow to right knee. Big inhale, bringing it back to center. Use that core. Lift those arms. Bring those hands down. Awesome. Curl that back toe under. Lift that knee. Shift those feet around. Walk it through center. All the way to that other direction so we're facing the same side that we were originally on that mat. Hands come down. Knee comes down. Step that foot back to meet, hands and knees. Brief child's pose or down dog recovery. So either knees come wide, hips go back, or you curl those toes under, press those hips up and back. Whichever of those feels good for you today. Just taking a moment there. Recenter, refine your breath. All right, if you found that child's pose, we are going to transition up to down dog. So curling those toes under, pressing those hips up and back. Three-legged dog, right leg comes up and back. We've got our pigeon up next, so sweeping that foot forward. This time we're going to place our shin down on the mat and then let that back knee and that back foot come down. Top of the foot meets the mat. Now for this one, the more difficult version of this has that foot out parallel with the ankle. I don't quite have the mobility for that, so my foot's just folded a little bit in closer. We're just going to spend a moment here. So just sitting those hips down nice and evenly down here. Finding a nice broad collarbones here, and then with your next exhale, if it feels good, you can bring it down to the elbows, or maybe create a nice little pillow for your forehead to bring those foreheads down to the mat. We're going to transition to that other side up next. So if you found those elbows or brought that head down, find those palms, curl that back toe under, lift that knee. We're going to lift the hips and sweep the right foot back to meet the left. Same thing on that left side. Three-legged dog, left foot comes up and back with that inhale. Shifting out forward, placing that shin down on the mat, sitting those hips down nice and evenly, let the top of that back foot meet the mat. First up, you've got those broad collarbones, and then with that next exhale, you can always bring it down. Maybe this side feels a little bit different than the other. Totally okay. All right, if you found those elbows or that head came down to the mat, go ahead, find those palms. Curl that back toe under, lift that back knee. We're going to lift those hips and sweep that left back to meet that right. Walk those feet forward to meet the hands. Forward fold. And then with your next inhale, go ahead and roll it up. All right, we've got a flow coming at us, and then we'll cool it on down with a nice little stretch at the very end. So for our flow, we're just going to find a modified sun salutation. We're going to include our chair pose. First one, if you'd like to follow along, you're completely welcome to. And then after that, if you need to move a little faster or slower, I'll just give us some time to flow through it a couple of times. I'll give you warning when I've got about 2 left. Again, you can just keep it going at your own pace, and then we'll meet at that down dog in the very end. So first time through, we've got an inhale. We're going to bring those arms out and up. Exhale to fold forward. We've got a halfway lift, nice flat back, long spine. Inhale here. Exhale, fold forward. If you need to bend those knees, go ahead and bend those knees, plant those hands, step those feet back through plank to that downward dog. Plank, down dog. From here, we've got an inhale, nice long spine. Exhale as we float those shoulders out over the wrists, and then from the toes or from the knees, lowering down towards the floor. 3 options from here. Your inhale, you've got low cobra, you've got cobra, and you've got up dog. Those tops of those feet should be on the mat for that inhale. Next, exhale, turn those toes over, press those hips up and back, down dog. From here, we're stepping or jumping those feet forward. So you can either take 2 nice big steps or 4 nice big steps, or you can hop those feet to the top of the mat. From there, we're gonna bring those feet together. So when you do this, moving forward, trying to bring those toes nice and close, we've got our chair pose with your next inhale. Sit those hips back, sweep those arms up. Inhale, exhale into this pose, and then inhale to stand up nice and tall. We're meeting right at the beginning. Exhale, circle those arms down and around. Same thing, big inhale out and up. That's the beginning. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward, plant those hands, step back through plank to down dog. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, float the shoulders out over the wrists and lower down from the toes or from the knees. Inhale to press up, cobra, low cobra, or up dog. Turn those toes over. And then once again, turn those toes over. Hips come up and back, down dog. Stepping or hopping those feet forward to meet the hands. Chair pose up next. Bring those feet together. Inhale, sit those hips back and lift those arms. Exhale to sink into it a little bit deeper. Inhale to lift up. Exhale to bring those arms down. We're back at the top, keep it on going. Inhale out and up. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift. Forward fold, plant the hands. Down dog. Through chaturanga, we're shifting the shoulders out, lowering. Inhale to press up. Exhale to turn over, down dog. Step or hop between those hands, feet close together. Chair, inhale. Exhale, sink into it. Inhale to lift up. Circle the arms down. Inhale out and up. Fold forward. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Plant those hands, step back. Down dog. Shifting back out. Lower down. Press up. Down dog. I'm going to go a little slower. I'm going to slow my breath down. Stepping those feet forward. Toes close together. Inhale, chair. Exhale, sink. Inhale, lift. Exhale, arms down. I'm going to move twice more through here. Forward fold. Lift. Fold. Plant the hands. Step it back to down dog. Shifting back out. Lower down. Lift up. Down dog. Step or hop those feet forward. Toes close together. Next, inhale, hips come back, arms come up. Exhale to sink. Inhale to rise. Circle down. I'm going to move through one more time. Inhale out and up. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Plant the hands. Step it back. Shift it out. Lower down. Lift up. Down dog. Step or hop those feet forward, toes close together. Inhale, rise. Exhale, sink. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, circle those arms down and around. We're going to find a forward fold one more time. Inhale out and up. Exhale, forward fold. From here, we're going to lower to seated. So all I'm going to do is step my left knee down, bringing my right foot down. I've got my legs crossed. I'm going to come back to, oh, no, we're going to shift. Sorry. So I brought my left knee down and then brought my hips down. We're still going to face the short edge of that mat. We've got one more thing in store for us today. Bend those knees and plant those feet. We're going to flow a little bit with the pace of our breath here. With our inhales, we're going to bring those hands behind, open up through that chest. With that exhale, we're shifting forward. We're placing the torso on those thighs, rounding out through the spine. Same thing, a couple of times here with your breath. Inhale, open up. Exhale to bring it forward. So kind of the same range of motion as our cat and cow, if that's fine. Two more nice deep breaths. And then bringing it back to center. Now here is the time that would be great if you would like to do a Shavasana, laying down, finding a comfortable position, refocusing on your breathing, taking a couple of moments to relax and release. I'm going to move forward and finish out our practice today, but you're always welcome to pause and find that here. Shifting to that seated position, we're going to find two final nice deep breaths. We're going to lead with those arms. First one's a little bit different than the second one on those exhales. Big inhale, we're still sweeping out now. For this first one, exhale to circle down and around. Last one, big inhale out and up. This time the palms meet overhead. Exhale, pull the palms down to heart center. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed. Have an awesome rest of your day. Bowing as we say, namaste. Thanks, everyone.